Hi, welcome. This is Mr.Mann and this is Flash 5. In this tutorial you'll be learning how to use the next frame and the previous frame code in ActionScript 2.0. We'll try to make it as easy as possible so beginners can follow along. This is a beginner tutorial, so you shouldn't have too many problems with it. A lot of the resources I've provided them to you, like 10 pictures, 2 buttons, and also an audio file. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is actually create a new layer. We're going to call it Images. And we're going to load 10 images into this program. But just to make this tutorial a little bit faster, I'm only going to do 5 of them because it's pretty repetitive. So you should get the point after the first 5 on how to carry on and do the next 10. Now, before I get further than this, I'm just going to go to Flash 5 and actually show you this finished sample. This is how it will look, and this is what I want you to recreate. 10 layers with 10 different pictures of different Canadian athletes during the Olympics. So I'm going to hit Control-Enter on my keyboard. And you'll see as this is the program right here, and this is how it's going to work. You'll also hear some audio running in the background. That's the audio file, instrumental. And you'll see a title. It's just cosmetic. Background's gray. So this is how the finished product will look. This is the right button going next frame, and this is the previous button right here, which is the left button. So we'll close it down. Let's get started on our own version. So we'll go back to the blank page. And first thing you want to do is go to Images and load all our images. So in order to get our images, we have to go to the library. There's nothing imported in yet, so we're going to go to File, Import to Library. Now, if you're doing this from home and you're not part of my class, you can download any pictures into your computer, but if you are in my class, all these images are located in the S drive in the ActionScript folder for Programming 11. So why don't we take all the files, the 10 images and the arrows and the sound, all 13 files, and hit Open, and you'll see them imported into the library. So now what we can do is we can one by one take each image and drop it into our stage. I'm going to just do the first image here, and you'll notice something that happens. The image is quite big, so what we're going to do is, again, if we had Photoshop, if I wanted to show you how to use Photoshop, that would probably add to the length of the tutorial. But the key thing is you probably want to resize these. If you want to do a more professional grade project, you probably want to resize these in Photoshop or another photo editing piece of software and make them all the same size, so it looks very professional. But because we're doing this fairly quickly, we'll stick with this this method of resizing it with a free transform control. So I'm going to go to 75% here, and you'll see we're just going to resize this so we can see it. So I went to the zoom rate, zoomed out 75%, and I'm going to place this picture in the middle. But I'm not quite satisfied with the actual program because I'm going to add left and right buttons here, and I don't want to run out of space. So I'm going to click the stage and go to Properties. Under Properties and Size of this box here, this white box, I'm going to boost it to about 700. And maybe I'll make this one roughly 500. Actually, let's go 450. Okay, that's a good size. We'll move the picture into the middle. Now we're trying to do pictures in the middle. We're just going to eyeball it. Again, if we were doing something professional, we would have everything mapped out and laid out properly, but we're not professional, so we'll do this to the best of our abilities. So here's the first picture, and one thing I forgot to tell you is press F6 to import more frames. So you want to do that right in the beginning. So I'll just insert a keyframe, and what happens when you insert a keyframe, it copies the first picture into the second frame. So I'm going to hit delete in the second frame, and now I'm going to press F6 on my keyboard and just insert, or go right click, insert keyframe. F6 is faster, but with Camtasia I don't want to use any of the F keys because it might pause or stop my video. So I'll just add frames up to 10, and we'll start loading some more pictures in. So let's go back to the library. Frame 2 is selected. I'm going to go to picture 2. One of our Olympic athletes who won gold in the moguls in Sochi. And frame 3. Again, I'm only going to go up to 5, but you're going to go to 10. So we're almost done. We're going to go to frame 4 now and select, here's our women's hockey team, I believe, around the goaltender. center the picture, frame 5. Again, just a picture of the jersey for 2014. And that's where I'm going to stop. But you'll notice that there's a couple other pictures, 10 others, or 5 more. So we're going to stop at 5, but you continue on again and finish all the other 5 up, because we're not going to spend that much time. This tutorial will get too long. So the next thing we want to do is I want you to select each frame and add a stop ActionScript 2 sequence to each frame. So the way you do that is press F9 by selecting the first frame. So I can press F9 or go Windows Actions, and I'm going to type in stop, bracket, close bracket, semicolon, and I'll select, I'll just copy this to make it faster. So copy that, go to frame 2 and paste, paste. Now this is the basic way of doing this. There's an intermediate way outlined. I'm just going to quickly pop into Microsoft Word, and if you notice, this is the actual programming ActionScript 2.0 key code sheet that I provided you, and this is the simple version of left and right buttons that we're going to go over in a second here. But if you want to try the intermediate version, there's a little bit more to it. There's a couple of if statements there that you can take a look at. You can copy and paste that into the buttons when we start those. So I want to just give you a heads up that that's available to you as well. So there's intermediate and there's a simple version. So let's finish off the stop. That's the last frame 5. But again, you're going to carry on all the way to frame 10 with your 10 pictures. We're going to stop at 5. So next thing we're going to do is close this Windows Action button or window, and now we're going to import the left and right arrow pictures. So I'm going to insert 2 layers. First layer being the left button, and layer 3 can be the right button. So to import the left and right arrow, select the left button layer and take your left arrow and drop it in to your program. Remember to resize it. Next, select the right button layer and take your right picture from the library and resize it as well. Make it the same size as the other arrow. This one looks a little bit big, so I'll make it a little bit smaller. Eyeball it again. We're not professionals, so we'll try our best. And I think we're ready to program. So before you program, convert the left and right button to symbols. So convert this to a symbol. Make sure it's a button. Call this one the left button. Hit OK, and right click on this and convert it to a symbol. And call this one the right button. Hit OK. Now that these are actual symbols, you can actually add some code to it. So press F9, and this is where we're going to actually add the new code for this tutorial. So press F9 on your keyboard, or right click, or sorry, not right click, go Windows Actions, and then type in the following code: on, bracket, release, left brace, prev, prev, sorry, and capital F for frame, pre-frame, bracket, bracket, semicolon. And that's all for the left. And the next one, you do the same thing. I'm just going to copy this to make it a little bit easier. Turn off the Actions window, select the right button, press F9, or select Windows Actions, and type in the same thing. On release, but instead of prev, make it next. I copied and pasted it in to make this faster for this tutorial's sake. So the next thing we want to do is let's quickly just test and see if this works. I'm going to hit Enter, or Control Enter. And here's our program. We select the right arrow and it goes next, and we click the previous and it goes backwards. So that's all I want you to do. Your project will have 10 pictures, so 10 layers, and you're going to make sure you fully finish it. One more thing, you can add some music as well by inserting a new layer. Call it Music. Music. And then with this layer selected, let's close the Actions tab. Take your music file from the library and drop it into the stage, or onto the stage. and you'll notice a purple line shows up through your layer. That means the music has actually gone in. You can test this yourself by hitting Control-Enter. Your finished product with 10 layers, so this is the demo I've just done. The finished product again will look like this. On a new layer I've added a title called Canadians in Sochi with a little gray box around it in the background. And if I hit Control-Enter on this program, this is the finished product. Next, 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 next. And you can hear the music coming on as well. Left, left, left. Forward, forward, forward. And that's it. Now again, if you're an intermediate, you can go on and try something a little bit harder. This is the simple version we used. On release, previous frame, and on release for the right button was next frame. So previous frame and next frame. But if you're an intermediate, try these lines of code. Copy this in for the left button and copy this in for the right button. That's it. Good luck. Try this on your own.